Very good. All right, so welcome everyone. Please, if you wouldn't mind just signing in the chat room and signing in with the name that you registered with. Sometimes the names on your Zoom screen doesn't match your real name, and it can get confusing afterwards as to who attended. Yeah. So it's great if you just jump in the chat room, just say hello, who you are. If you'd like to say where you're from, that would be great. And then we've got a record then of people who are joining us. This is Engage Your Audience with Visual Leadership. I'm Gabby Harton. I'm the founder and CEO of Higher Curve. And here at Higher Curve, we're all about humans. So anything to do with humans, that's what we're on about. And this visual leadership is a great one for humans because it's all about your own hand-drawn human visuals that you create and then use in your work, whatever your work is. So it's all about the fact that everyone can draw, and I'll spend a bit of time today and throughout encouraging you to banish that critical voice that you may have in your head saying you can't draw. Yes, you can. It's an inherent human trait. It's one of the first things we do as a very, very young child is pick up some sort of drawing implement and start scribbling and drawing. So we can do it. As we become adults, we lose that ability, gets rusty, but we still have that trait. So everyone can draw, and it's all about visual leadership. So it's taking your ability to create amazing visuals and then use it in your work with your audience and become a great leader through the use of your visuals. And it's about building up engagement, capturing attention and keeping attention, and connecting with people in special ways, all through the use of your visuals. And of course, if you're a teacher, and I know I've got some teachers or ex-teachers in the audience, especially if you're a teacher of young children, you already know the importance of using visuals in your work, which is teaching. And that's where I started as well. And I brought the visuals over into the adult world when I started teaching and working with adults, and it works just as well. All right, so I will ask you to mute not your video. Sorry, you don't need to mute your video. Sorry about that. I'll fix that, but just mute your audio. You can certainly turn your audio on if you want to jump in with the question. I'm fine with that. Happy for you to keep your videos on. We shouldn't have issues unless there's issues with connections. Happy for you to put your video on or off. Questions or comments, put them in the chat room, and I might actually bring up my chat. Where is it? I'll leave my chat up so I can see, and there'll be questions at the end as well. If there are burning questions, you can interrupt me, otherwise we'll go through towards the end. All right, let's move on. I would like to introduce you to Higher Curve and just give you a little overview of our philosophy and what we're all about. And I'd like to do it through a little story for our times. I hope you enjoy it. If sometimes the music to this video, the audio is a bit off. If the music's too loud or it's not any good, can someone give me a thumbs down if there's issues with the music? Enjoy. Okay, so there's a little insight into what we do and what our philosophy is here at Higher Curve. Just in regards to more logistical information, we deliver training and coaching, and we specialise in nurturing and developing the human-centred trending skills that organisations need for thriving in the new normal, and they're all the human traits that we're talking about there. We have a consulting arm, so we help organisations deliver sustainable growth by co-creating their next strategic human development program, and graphic recording and visual facilitation. So we take human interactions to the next level by creating hand-drawn, brain-friendly visuals to quickly communicate complexity and drive creativity. So I deliver that as a service and I also teach it. So that's why you're here today with the webinar. All right, so I'm going to spend some time here with you before we get into the drawing, but just have a stop and think for a minute. What's happening in your meetings, your communications and your human interactions at the moment? Do you struggle to keep your audience engaged? Do people lose interest in your message? Do your messages capture the hearts and the minds of your audience? How do you break through cognitive overload? Do you regularly exercise your creative muscle? And how do you nurture well-being? Now, I do apologise, that's all a bit jumbled up there and very difficult to sort of understand all of that. It's a little bit deliberate because it's all text there at the moment. So let's get back to what we're looking at today. It's about using visuals to help with your communication. And all of those questions I've just asked you there, visuals and using your own human hand-drawn visuals is going to help you with all of these issues, if you have these issues. So the agenda for today's webinar, all the way throughout, and I've already started, I'm going to give you examples of how you can communicate with stories. And that's another very powerful way to communicate with other humans, using storytelling and bringing visuals into the storytelling approach to capture that engagement. I'm going to cover off on 3 premises to keep in mind that's going to get you drawing quickly. This one's to do with your mindset, which is number 1, before you even pick up a marker and get started, we've got to get the mind thinking in the right way. 4 steps to visual mastery, I'll share those with you. Some insider tips, I'll talk to you a little bit about some tools of the trade with this work. Then we'll have a skill drill at the easel. I'll switch my camera. You might see my, my other camera sitting there at the moment. I've got my easel. So we'll switch over there and do some work. I'll take you through a video how-to. So part of what I share with you in terms of my work and the ongoing program that I teach is not only creating your own visuals, but then recording yourself and turning it into a video that you can use. And there are some bonuses as well. Oh, excuse me. I can't believe I need a tissue, but I need a tissue. Right, let's move on. Now, it's all about building blocks, and it's about starting with the very, very basics with your own skills and building from there. So starting with just very basic images. Here's a couple of examples of drawing figures. Very simple message with one picture and a little bit of text. That's where you start, and then you can build up your skills over a few sessions. 4, 5, 6 sessions is all you need to get yourself to a point where you could create a poster, something like that. There's a raw image, just a photo I've taken with my iPhone of a drawing that I've done in this program. And then you can even take it to the next level. So there's my drawing with a graphic design overlay. So I have an amazing graphic designer. His name is Dan, and I give him my pictures and he just puts these amazing graphic design overlays onto them with branding and whatever else that you would like. You can take it to another level with that as well. So there's another example of a poster that I've created just with my own hand-drawn images. I can use floating elements, and there's a picture of me doing some of the drawing. Again, they're just the raw screenshots of the video that I took. And then that video in particular has also had a graphic design overlay put on it, which I'll show you. So let me give you a demo. Here's the raw video. So this is me creating this poster, and it is literally just been recorded on my iPhone with a little bit of very basic editing. Hope you enjoy this one. Music okay? Sorry, folks. Okay, so that was the raw video. It was taken with the time-lapse app, so it has been sped up from its normal speed. And now here's an example of using that raw video and putting the graphic design overlay on top. Okay, so that's some examples of what you can do and where you can take your skills just in a few short sessions. I promise you can get to that stage. In regards to the quality of your poster, you will be amazed when you're taught the building blocks, what you can do. All right, so let me spend a couple of minutes on mindset, because this is very powerful. And if the critical voice takes over, that can interfere. So First one about mindset are the three firsts of visuals. There's another example of the raw image and then the graphic design overlay. Now, the first is foundation first. So it's around building from the basics, which I've already started talking about. And as you create your visuals, you are building from a foundation, and you start with very basics and then you build from there. And then the way you learn these skills and the way I teach them is exactly the same. It's a sequential and scaffolded approach. So I teach you by starting at the very, very basics, very simple skills and techniques. And then once that's being done, then we just build and we keep adding. So it becomes an easy way to learn. The second one here is that it's human first. So it's the hand-drawn images that we're all about here. And that's what makes it so exciting, because everybody is unique. Everybody's got their own perspective and their own personality and their own preferences. So when you let all the critical voice disappear and you just let yourself come forward, it's those unique qualities that you bring to your visuals, and then you can end up creating visuals that no one else creates because they come from you. And the fact that it's a human drawn visual is why it makes it so appealing to other humans. The other good thing about human first as one of these key principles is it means that mistakes are okay. So don't get caught up with mistakes. I still make mistakes. It's fine. We all make mistakes as humans. And sometimes when those little mistakes slip in and you just let them go and they're there anyway, that sort of actually adds some added appeal. So that can help you relax you as well when you remember that about the human first. And then the last one is that it is purpose first. So in this form, we're not looking at the pure art form. We're not looking at making something just beautiful for art's sake. Our visuals here in this context always have a purpose. So your purpose is that you want to communicate some information to your audience. That's where you start. And then you decide how are you going to visualize that information in order to clarify and organize it so that it becomes more effective in communicating. And one of the things around that is we're always looking at putting visuals and text together so that they support each other and they support the message that you're sending through. All right. Another one for mindset is what I like to call the visual rules of the game. I have 4 of them. The first one is practice over perfection. This is another nice one, especially for the perfectionists in the room. Yes, I'm one of those. It's not about perfection, it's about practice, and you will get better at this with practice. I have had years and years and years of practice. I'm not naturally talented in this space. I need to be taught well and to be given clear instruction, and then just lots of practice. All right, it's function over form. So this one comes up again because it's so important. It's starting with the information first that you want to communicate, and then it's thinking about what visuals are you going to create to support that information. It's clarity over confusion, and sometimes less is more, but not always. But we're always looking at ensuring that the visual that you create has clarity so that it's quick and easy for people to understand your message. We don't want your visual to be confusing to the audience. It doesn't mean it can't be busy. Busy is okay as long as there's still clarity in there. And I teach that, and we unpack that and break that down so that you learn how to create a busy looking visual that still has clarity in there and it doesn't have confusion. And then it's recognizable over realistic. This is another good one for the humans out there who are not perfect at this and who are not naturally talented at drawing. As long as your visual that you create, as long as we can recognize what it is, that's fine. We don't need to make it completely realistic. That's for another art class and for a different skill and technique. We just want to make sure it's realistic, and then we're good to go. All right, some little bit of information on the tools of the trade. Two main tools that I'll talk about at this early stage. And the first one is the surface that you work with. And so there's lots of different surfaces you can work with, and the way you create your visuals can vary a little bit depending on the surface. So sketchbooks, notebook paper, blank paper, maybe flip chart paper on a wall or on a flip chart stand. It might be a whiteboard or a chalkboard, or what we used to call the blackboard. When I went through Teachers College many years ago, I had a core subject where I was taught how to write on the blackboard. Digital as another surface. So there's lots of different surfaces that you can work with. And then the other main tool of the trade that I'll talk about at the moment are your drawing tools, pencils, pens, markers, for doing your drawing and your writing, and then colouring in. So if you want to bring colour into your visuals, then you've got tools for that as well. Maybe markers, pencils, dry pastels. I'm working with some professional markers today. These come from Germany. I'll do that. They're thicker, so you can see. You guys are working with the Sharpie, which is equally good, especially for smaller pieces of paper. A4 paper and a Sharpie, or just some sort of thin or medium thickness marker is fine for today. There we go. So there's the tools that we're working with. All right, video how-to. I'm going to come back to this after we've finished at the easel, and I'll give you a breakdown of the steps I go through, just at a high level, as to how to create your video. There are five key steps there for the video how-to, so we'll come back to that one. All right, we are ready for the skill drill. I am going to stop sharing. I'll just move that there, and I'm going to, what am I going to do? Change my camera, and I have to say the resolution on this camera is amazing, and when I see myself in this camera I get a real fright because it's very, so I'm going to try and stay out when I switch over. And you don't want to see me anyway, you want to see the easel. Let me just get all my stuff together. Excuse me. Right, let me switch. Okay, everyone see the easel okay? Thumbs up. Good. All right, recognise that. Oh, sorry. I'll look here. I'm looking at my other camera there. This is the original from that video that you saw. Still sort of hanging in there, getting a bit tatty towards the edges. That's why it's great to create digital assets so that you can keep using them. All right. Okay. I'm going to start with, you can follow along with me. We're going to work with just looking at some basic shapes and using those basic shapes and turning them into icons. All right, I am going to actually, before we start here, just take another blank piece of paper, it might be on the back, and you know what, I'm feeling a bit hungry. I'm thinking about sandwiches, I'm thinking about ice creams, and I'm thinking about a cup of tea, which I've got here. Pick one of those, and can you draw one of those for me? Sandwich, an ice cream, or a cup of tea. Do a nice big drawing on your A4 paper and hold it up to the camera. Let's have a look. We don't want to be shy, and don't be worried about thinking, it's not very good. Nice. Oof. Very good. Maybe you don't need easel time here. Some of those look pretty amazing. All right, I'll come back to those. All right, let's start here. I'm going to start with just some shapes. We're going to start with a circle, a square, and a straight line. And we're actually going to put them together in that order. Circle, square, straight line. I'm going to turn it into something. I'm going to put it over here. So I'm starting with my circle. My square is going to be under my circle. It's not going to be as big as the circle. Probably do it about that size there. Then I'm going to put my lines in. I'm going to start here sort of at the edge. I'm going to do an angled line that reaches down to the top right corner of that square or that box. I'm going to do the same on the other side, angling down so that it reaches to the top left corner of the box. And then I'm going to put two more in the center there. And I have made a hot air balloon. Now, you don't have this marker at the moment, that's fine. I cover this in the online program that I teach, but you can use grey as a shadowing marker and start to put shadows into your pictures to create a bit more definition. You can then also put in some movement lines and give the appearance of that icon or that picture now moving. And I might do one more just for practice. 1, 2. You could put some extra little grid lines in that box so that it looks more like the basket that people would be in. You can advance that and make it really, really big and make the basket big enough, and then you can, when you've learned how to draw figures, you can start to put some figures in those baskets for some more character in there. All right, let's try another one. This time I've got 1, 2, 3, like the letter M. We'll do 3 of those. That's going to be first as we draw our icon. The next shape is a semicircle. Oops. The next shape is a rectangle. And the next shape is just a straight line. So we'll work with 4 there. All right, let's put those shapes together and turn it into, you might be wondering or thinking. You might have an idea what you think that might turn into. Sorry, I keep looking at the wrong camera. I hope you don't mind. I keep looking at me over there. Never mind, you're looking here. All right, let's put them together. So we'll start with the 3 M's. 1, 2, 3. That one's not too bad. You really want your 3 humps of the M all roughly the same size. Mine's a little off there on that one. All right, next one is your semicircle. So starting over here, and you're going to end at the end of your M's. So nice big semicircle there. That can be the start of an umbrella. Mm-hmm. Rectangle, it's similar to the box here or the basket that goes under the hot air balloon. We're going to put our rectangle underneath what we've created there, a little bit of space just about in the middle. And then with our lines, we're going to do similar to what we've done here with the balloon. Starting over here, this one connects to the top right corner of that rectangle. Over here at the beginning on the left-hand side, same thing. And then you might be able to see what you do with the others. So these points here, down to the box. And created a little floating parachute there. Now, if you want to try just a slight variation on that one's floating straight down. What about if we just shifted it and tried to put it on a bit of an angle? So let's just try putting those together again. I might put it over here, but this time we just want it maybe to be on an angle, so it's coming down this way. So still start with our M's. 1, 2, 3, semicircle, rectangle, and then our lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shadowing goes in there. And some different lines you can play with can give that icon a different feel. Maybe that one feels like it's sort of floating down maybe a little more quickly. So maybe this little square down here, maybe if we colour it in and we've got those different sorts of lines, it gives it maybe a feeling that's a little more heavy and it's coming down a little more quickly. So you can start to do things with these icons to give life and movement. All right, let's try another one. All right, let's get back to that food I was talking about. Let's start with triangle. Oh, that'll be first. That one's a squiggly line. Might have a name for that. Maybe it's waves. Maybe you've thinking of something else that makes that squiggly line. What else have we got? We've got another stick, or just a nice straight line, and then we've got a circle. Any ideas what this food is going to be? I did mention sandwich, ice cream, cup of tea.
Sandwich.
Yeah. The triangle probably gave it away. All right, let's put it together. So triangle. The next is the squiggly line. Now the squiggly line is going to go underneath the bottom line of the triangle. And we want the little raised bits of the squiggly line. They can sort of touch the bottom of that triangle. Like so. We're then actually going to, you can see some gaps here. Let's just close the gap from where the beginning of the squiggly line starts. Just close it up with that triangle. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw the bottom bit of that triangle under the squiggly line. So we want to keep that triangle angle going. So those angled lines, just bring them down a little bit more under the squiggly line, and then it's a straight line across. So it's the bottom of the triangle again. Not too bad. So when you start to bring colour in, that squiggly line could be cheese, might be something else, might be green for lettuce, whatever you want. Okay, there's my sandwich. Let's make it sort of a multi-grain bread, and there's probably other goodies in that sandwich that we can't see, but we'll put the stick in there in the circle. And there's our little stick that holds it together. I guess it's a bit like a club sandwich, keeps it all together there. There's our sandwich. Now, if you wanted an advancement on that, we could do a round like that, turn it into a bit of a plate. Sandwich on the plate. All right. You can play with your triangle shapes as well and have different triangle shapes. Okay, let's try another one. Triangle the other way around this time. Oops, that'll be first, second. Just another straight line. And a curved line. All right, I'm going to put this one over here where I've got room. I saw some pretty good looking ice creams already, I think. There's my triangle. Circle. Now my lines, let's turn that into like a waffle cone. Let's go back to this circle, but just do not a full circle, but probably about 3/4 on the side there, and our curved line. That becomes our cherry on top. All right, we've got room for one more. I'll just move that up a little bit. Okay. Number 5. All right, now we had a semicircle here. Let's do a semicircle the other way around. That'll be 1. Straight line, that's 2. Square, that's 3. Sort of a backwards letter C, that's 4. And then a squiggly line. I don't like that very much. I've done a second one there. I think that might look a little better. All right, let's put those 5 together. I've got space right here, which is good. Upside down semicircle. Now my straight line is actually going to close off that semicircle up top. And then another straight line underneath becomes my saucer. I'm sure you've already guessed what it is. Now my square, I'm actually going to use my line as well. I'm going to do a straight line, have a little bit of that straight line actually just above the top of the cup. Have it come down about so far, and then put your little square in. That becomes your tea bag. All right, number 4 was my back to front C, which becomes my handle. And then my squiggly lines I definitely like my second squiggly line better than my first. The squiggly lines are going to show the heat, the steam from the tea. And there we go. Again, can put some shadowing in there to give it a bit more definition. And there you have a little mini skill drill on one of the very first building blocks that you start with. And that's starting with your shapes. And it may be around just getting good at those shapes again. If you felt like your shapes are a little bit wobbly, then I recommend you do just lots of practice. You can, a great way to practice is actually draw your own straight lines across your page and then fill it with circles or squares and all of these different shapes, because the more uniform and well structured your shapes are, the better your icons are looking. So you'll have the best feel for whether you think you need more practice with just your basic shapes. Another great way to practice your basic shapes are your different sizes. So you're working with A4 paper, your shapes at the moment are pretty small. Mine are a little bigger. When you want to start working with bigger pieces of paper and flip chart paper, your shapes need to be much bigger. And you'll often find, especially if you're not used to it, drawing these shapes much bigger on the flip chart takes a bit of practice, and you might find you're a little bit off. So practicing drawing the larger shapes on the larger surface can be great as well. So that's one of your very first building blocks. And then you can see how simple and easy it is to start creating really realistic looking icons just by following a process like this. And you can go on and on. All right, let me see your work, everyone. Now hold it up. Very nice. Oh, look amazing. Yay, excellent work. Oh, very nice looking sandwich there, Karen. Well done, everybody. All right, let me switch back, switch cameras. And let me come back. Excellent work. All right, let me, what's the time? Share my screen again. Where are we? Oh, share. Okay, well done everyone. That was our first stop at the easel. Let's move on. Okay, actually, let me review. It's only a very short session, but attention can be so scattered these days, we can forget very quickly what we've just gone through. Let me just take you through a quick review so far of what I've covered with you. There was the welcome and an example of the graphic design overlay being used with just one of my hand-drawn posters. If you missed the beginning, please jump in and just introduce yourself in the chat room so that I know who's here today. I then gave you the little story, Once Upon a Time in a COVID World, and a little insight into Higher Curve and our philosophy around human development. And we're all about focusing on the human traits and the natural human traits that we actually need now more than ever to help us travel through challenges. And this is an example. Our visual leadership is one of the things that we teach, one of these human traits. Just a little overview of what we do: training and coaching, consulting, and then the graphic recording, the visual facilitation. I did pose those questions for you around what's happening at the moment in your meetings and your human interactions, and maybe there's issues around capturing attention and keeping that attention and communicating complex information and exercising your creative muscle. How often do we get to do that? Nurturing your well-being. So this whole act of drawing does wonders for your well-being, and that's something that we need during this time as well. Just took you through the agenda there. Talked about the building blocks and how we start with the very basics and then we can build from there into amazing visuals. Turning them into videos, looking at one of the raw videos that I've created, then looking at how the graphic design overlay can take that to another level. The mindset, the 3 firsts of visuals: foundation first, human first, purpose first. Visual rules of the game: practice over perfection, function over form, clarity over confusion, and recognisable over realistic. Tools of the trade. So just at this stage, talking about the 2 most important tools, and that's the surface that you work with, and then the tools that you use for your drawing and your writing. Video how-to. I told you I was coming back to that one. And then we've just finished at the easel. So let me give you a quick and brief overview of how I create those videos. So I start with my tools. I think about the surface that I'm going to work with. I think about what drawing tools am I going to use. I might use floating elements, which I get into more in the online training program. Camera, and all my videos are recorded on my iPhone. The other side of the tool is the software. So you need video recording and video editing software. And again, I just use what's on my phone. Then once you've got all your tools sorted, preparation is key. And preparation starts with, well, what poster am I creating? And that starts with what information am I communicating? Blocking it out, maybe pre-sketching it in pencil. I talk about that in more detail in the program. Setting the scene around your picture so that your video looks appealing. And then rehearse, very important. I'll talk about that as well. Some of the tips to keep in mind with your rehearsing. Then you're ready to record. You record it with the app and I can share the apps that I've used with you. You record it, then you view it. The app that you use typically lets you choose the speed that you want it to be in, and then you save it. So it's a time-lapsed video of your drawing. You then want to edit it, and again, just using basic editing apps on your phone. Good tip that I always use, take a duplicate of your file before you edit. Very basic editing, trimming, maybe putting a title in, putting in some background music, saving it to your Dropbox or wherever so that you can start using it in different ways. And then that's step number 5. You get to use it. I use my videos in social media posts. I use it for promotion and engagement, different social media there. They go on my website, and of course I use them in videos. I use them in training. So lots of great uses for the video that you can create. And the exciting thing is that the program that I teach, you get to create your own video. So just have a think, where do you think you are right now? Which of those might you choose? Do you think you're sitting at number 1 and you're saying, I really just can't draw? And when you think about those bigger posters that I've shown you, you're saying, I could never do that. Maybe you're sitting at number 2. I wouldn't know where to start in how to put something together like those detailed posters. Maybe number 3, you do a lot of drawing. Maybe it's just drawing for yourself. Or maybe you're sitting at number 4 where you do create and you utilise your own visuals and you're using it in your work to capture engagement and to help with communication. Have a think about where you're sitting there. And so let me tell you about the Visual Leader program that I have. Very excited to share this with you. It's an online program. The first module is pre-recorded videos on demand that you can go through in your own time. And then the rest of the modules are live sessions with me at the easel, and I give you all the lessons that you need. So you get a starter kit in the mail with all the equipment that I've handpicked and put together for you. There's an online bulletin board that we access, and everybody's work goes up on the bulletin board, and we get to see all of that and get great ideas and feedback from everyone. We have a lesson on basic shapes. We have a lesson on handwriting. There's a little mini poster that you put together right from the get-go. We look at drawing containers and speech bubbles and how we can use those to add impact. We look at, there's a lesson on figures and starting to bring humans into your visuals. We have a session on layout and structure, how to put it all together. Also colour, which is supports layout and structure and really brings warmth into your visuals. I give you lots more demos throughout the program of my work. And then culminating project, you get to put all of those together and you end up creating your own poster. And you get to create and record your own video in this program. And then the best part is movie night, yay! When everybody's finished there creating their own videos, we come back together for the last session and we all watch each other's videos. It's amazing. And I've taught this before with people in lockdown, kids at home, crazy stuff going on. And I was amazed at how people can put something together in that lockdown and create their very first video that we all get to enjoy. So that's the program that I have. 6 modules. As I said, the first one is on-demand video lessons. You get access to that as soon as you enroll. And the other modules are the live sessions with me at the easel. Now, just have a think about what you might do today now that you're getting to the end of this webinar. Maybe you'll do nothing. That's okay. You'll have the same outcome as you've got today. Maybe that's you're fine with that and you're ready to sit with that for a while. You may not get any extra engagement though if you don't do something with these visuals. Maybe no sort of extra standing out from the crowd. Maybe you want to wait and just sort of have a think about it. So you might start when you sit and wait. You maybe will get some extra engagement by using those icons that you've just used. Start putting those in and see how you go with those. Maybe you'll get some extra standouts from the crowd. It's amazing the engagement you can get even with those basic icons I've shown you today. Well, let's think about the future. If you'd like to take these skills a little bit further, maybe you'd like to go away and work on a do-it-yourself. There's lots of great resources out there on the internet where you might want to continue and start building from what I've shown you today. Or maybe you'd like to join an online program with me, expert content, expert teaching, real-time collaboration with other people in the program. And then by the end, you've got assets that are completed and they're ready to go and to use. So I can have you on your way in 45 days if you're interested in the online program. Now I did promise some bonuses here. So I'm going to throw in some bonuses for anybody who enrolls in this program. I'm actually going to throw in a one image development. This is another service I offer where I will create an image for you of your content. So we have a consult and I create it for you, and then that's what you get. That's normally $575. I'm giving that for free in this current program. After this online program, you can purchase a coaching program where you can join coaching calls afterwards, and I can continue to help you. I'm going to throw in one of those group coaching calls for you, absolutely free. The starter pack in the mail is usually an added extra. I'm going to give that to you as one of the bonuses at the moment. And they're all ready to go, ready to get posted. And then you get access to the program. So the online pre-recorded video lessons, all the live lessons with me. You get access to that online bulletin board where we all collaborate and share all of our work. Part of the kit that you get is a sketchbook, and by the end of the program, your sketchbook actually has turned into a portfolio of your work. A really great record of everything that you've done that you can use for future reference. You will have created your own posters within this program, and you will have created your very own first video, time-lapsed video, and you will have shared it with an audience and got feedback on it. All right, now that program's normally a $990 program. I'm heavily discounting this. I really are keen for people to join. Now, just to let you know, you put all of those together, we've got $1,300 worth of free bonuses that I'm offering today. So the price, heavily discounted price, it's a $490 program. It's only for the next 48 hours, and I've only got limited places in the course if you're interested. So there is the link, and I've just put it in the chat room. I will follow up with an email with that link, but if you are interested, jump on over there. The first couple of sessions are free previews. As I said, 12 participants. Any questions, shoot me through an email. I'm happy to stay on now a little longer if there are any questions on the webinar today. What else have I got? Come on. So as I said, happy to take questions. Before I do though, and before you head off, because it is right on 10 o'clock, I would love feedback. I'm always wanting to make sure that what I'm offering is working. If you could provide feedback in the chat room, I would be most appreciative. Tell me something that you loved about the webinar today, something that you've learned, a tip for improvement. If you think there is something that I could do differently to improve this webinar, let me know. Karen has a question. Program is very detailed. I'm conscious of the use of paper, so can we use whiteboards? Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and that's the great thing about those two key tools of the trade, surfaces and your drawing equipment. You can absolutely work with whiteboards, and you can certainly choose. I feel a bit the same, especially if I was to teach a course with flip chart paper and you've got 12 people in the program. That's a lot of paper. Sketchbooks, you're not wasting the paper so much because the sketchbook becomes your portfolio, and it's got all your lessons in there that you use as ongoing. So we are using paper there, but we're, it's sustainable in that sense. But absolutely, you can use whiteboards. So any other questions? I might just go back in and just check and see. But if you've got any more questions, happy for you to turn your audio on if you want to have a chat. I certainly want to thank you for joining me today, especially my international attendees all the way from the Middle East in the middle of the night, and anyone else who's turned up. I certainly hope it's been worth it. I will say thank you very much. And I'll just leave it there now. I'm happy to take questions. Hope you have a great rest of the day.